Hey guys, my name is Pamela.
My name is Mia.
And welcome back to my channel, At Home With Me. Hey guys, and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about kids and deployments. Kind of how our daughter, Mia, went through her deployment with her dad. The first deployment, she was really young, so she doesn't remember it, but the second deployment was a pretty big deal to her. I want to kind of talk to her about it in this video, maybe asking her just like a couple questions, nothing too crazy because she is an emotional kid, so I don't want to badger her with too many questions because she might just get a little bit more emotional. But I think it's a good idea to bring her into the channel and to see what she has to share. This is completely raw. We don't ever really talk about what Daddy went through while he was deployed. So it's going to be really interesting to see what she says or how she answers these questions. I think it's awesome to have a kid like her, to be honest. She's so strong. And I just want to thank all of our military kids. I wish that we could sit them all together and just give them a big hug because honestly, I feel like they go through so much. They don't choose this life. We choose this life for them. And sometimes we don't understand how it affects them until they're older, until they're finally able to describe how they felt all along, all these years. So I just want to make sure that you guys, if you guys have kids, please give them an extra big hug today because honestly, we probably put them through so much, so many moves, so many different emotions, so many new friends, so many goodbyes, and we don't realize that it affects them a lot and it makes them sad sometimes. So, you know, big thanks to you guys before we get started, and big thanks to your kids. Military kids are so unbelievably strong. I don't think I could have done what you know, a lot of these kids go through. I don't think I could have gone through what Mia went through. I think that's hard, you know. I lived with divorced parents, and I didn't really have a parent that was in danger all the time. And for some of these kids are aware that their other parent is in dangerous territories, and that's scary. Fortunately for our daughter, she didn't know because she was so young. So that kind of makes things a little bit easier. Again, this is just our experience. Mia was so little, so things worked a little bit, I think, in our favor. She was so little, so I was able to mold her into what I thought would help her. And I think at the end of the day, the way that I've ran things in my home became like we succeeded at what we wanted to do with our child. But I hope that you can take little things from what we did and apply them to your situation, and hopefully it can help you guys out. So let's get started. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay guys, so today we are going to talk about deployments and pretty much how kids cope through deployments. For our daughter Mia, Sean was deployed throughout her, pretty much like her 6 months to 1 year old life. So she doesn't really remember much from that. But for Sean's second deployment, Mia was, how old were you, like 5, 6?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the last deployment he did since he only deployed twice. So can you tell me, Mia, like, do you remember Daddy being gone? And do you remember like thinking about him often, or like did you miss him? Do you feel like you remembered him being gone?
During Dad's deployment, I didn't remember much, but I do, because I was so little, but I do remember him being gone, and my mom just always kept me focused on things. Like, she'd give me swimming lessons, gymnastics. Mm-hmm. She would take me everywhere, just so I could get my mind off him. And I kind of, like, didn't think about him too much or miss him a lot, but I still, like, it just felt normal to me because I was so little. I didn't get attached to him yet because I got attached to my mom first.
Yeah, that's very true. And like now that you're 9, I feel like now that daddy's home most of the time, you've gotten more attached to him, right? Like you've developed this relationship with him. I think it's so important that when your husband or your wife gets deployed and you're at home with the kids, that you do fill up their time as well as your time, right? You're going to need some adult time, but it's really important for them to feel like they have a schedule too. Their life is not, surrounding around yours, but they have a thing of their own. So for Mia, I did gymnastics since she was so tiny. Since Sean's first deployment, we started doing gymnastics, mommy and me. Play groups.
He did ballet too.
Yeah, you did ballet. What else did you do? Do you remember what else you did?
Swimming.
Right, you did swimming.
You would take me on like trips and stuff, or you would like take me to like fun places like Chuck E. Cheese or stuff like that.
Yes, Chuck E. Cheese. That was like a staple. Yeah, that was a staple while you were young. And we would go to pumpkin patches, festivals, like anything that was going on that was family friendly and kid friendly. I was taking her to it because I felt like it was so important for her to feel like she was constantly having fun. She was busy. She had plans. Her weekends were not just kind of lounging around being bored, because I felt like if she was lounging around being bored on the iPad or anything, that she was going to constantly think of those as, daddy's not here, so this is what we do. Dad's not here, so we can't do anything. And I didn't want her to think that. I wanted her to know and feel like even though it's just mom there, we can still go out, we can still have fun, she can still have friends. So to me, that was really important because I know that I would have liked that as a kid, so I was just trying to apply that to her.
A tip for when you're at home with your mom, me and my mom, every Friday we would have Mommy and Me night where we'd cuddle together and have popcorn. Now, if you have your dad gone or your mom gone, and you want to have quality time with your mom, but when your dad's there, he doesn't let you do some stuff. So do that stuff with your mom, like.
Right. So yeah. So in our case, Sean he's not into watching like vet shows and animal shows or animal movies. Or even like some Disney movies he's not into. Yeah. That's just like a man thing. But
he wants to watch like Avengers and stuff like that. But we want to watch the new kids movies. So when he's gone, we watch it all the time.
So take advantage of the time that your spouse is gone so that you can develop a more bonding experience for you and your kid. Another thing that we did, Mia, I don't know if you remember, but while Daddy was deployed that second time, we did a lot of crafts, lots of crafting, and that's just because she was into crafting. She was very creative from the beginning, from very little. She was very creative. So make sure that you're doing activities that tailor to your kids' needs and wants. That's really going to help them develop, within their mind and their personality. It really helps them. For her, do you remember that we did a deployment countdown chain? Do you remember that?
No.
So we did like this chain made out of construction paper, and so we would glue them together. And so every month that went by, you would rip off the link, and then we would have the rest of the chain that was left over. So it would tell you how long he has left until he comes back. And then when we got to the last link, that makes it super exciting because it's the last link that you have to rip off till Daddy comes home. I'm surprised you don't remember that. See? And what's really cool, guys, is that if your kids are little while your husband is going to deployment, they're probably not going to remember a lot of this stuff. And, right? Do you remember, baby? Do you remember a lot of it?
No, I don't remember anything, but all I remember was, like, he would distract me a lot. Like,
you remember being busy?
Yeah, I remember always being busy.
Yeah, you don't remember being sad?
Nope.
Yeah, and that was the goal. I didn't want her to ever feel like, you know, like she missed Dad and like she had like a breakdown or anything like that. She had a good bond with Sean, but at the moment she had a stronger bond with me, and that was intentional because I knew that Sean was going to deploy more often, and I knew that Sean was going to go on you know, training exercises, so I wanted her to be bonded to me so that when he would leave, she wasn't having a hard time. And so I think we were really successful at that. And then now that Sean's gone, now that Sean's here more often, now she's like super attached to Daddy. She's a daddy's girl now, right? Yeah.
Don't worry, you can take Malia.
But I think that it's going to be really important, guys, for you to really just assess what your kids are into, what they like, what their interests are, and just tailor all of the activities that you're going to do with them to what they want.
When one of your parents deploy, the parent that you're gonna stay with you. I was so little, so I didn't really get to bond with my daddy yet. So my mom was the first one who bonded with me. So that's why I wasn't that sad that my dad left, because I didn't really know him too much.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really kind of mind. Like, if it was Mom that left and I bonded with her, then I would probably miss her. But with Dad, I just didn't bond yet. So I bonded with Mom, and then I started to, like, get attached to Dad as soon as he got back. So I just got really attached to Daddy.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So you know, if you're going to be the parent that stays home with the kids,
bond with them first.
Yeah, you need to step up and really take that responsibility, you know, of just making sure that your relationship is up to par before your spouse deploys. Like, do you remember us talking to you about deployments at all, or did you just remember it as, oh, Daddy's going on a trip for work and he's going to be gone for a while?
I remember you guys telling me about deployment. You guys told me that about the Army and stuff, and how Daddy had to, like, leave for work. But I kind of thought, I didn't know, like, that much. I just thought that he was staying at, to be honest with you, I thought he was staying at this bougie hotel, and he went to work and kicked the bad guy's butt, and then came back, he slept, and he was having the time of his life. But then now that I learned about it, poor Daddy.
That's pretty cool. I never knew that.
I know, that's all. I always thought about that, but then when you guys taught me about it, I was like, oh. Then
yeah, that's not the case. He's not staying at a bougie hotel. So that's actually another good point. You know, when your spouse does deploy, to us it was important that we didn't tell Mia that exactly what he was doing, because I didn't want her to ever worry. I just told her, you know, Daddy's going on a trip, on a work trip, and yeah, he's gonna be, you know, kicking the bad guy's butt, and then he'll come home. But I didn't really give her a lot of information because she was only 5, 6, so that wasn't really necessary. She just needs to have an idea as to what he's doing, and that what he's doing is really important. And that, you know, so that way she didn't feel like any sense of abandonment. I wanted her to just know that what he was doing was really, really important to everybody here.
So, when I was like 8, I think like last year or something, we watched the movie Little Princess. You know, the Little Princess?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's about this girl, if you haven't watched it, it's about this girl and her dad goes off to deployment, and she stays at this children's place where... A children's
home, yeah, because he didn't have any family.
Yeah, so all the girls stayed there, and her teacher wasn't nice to her, and his dad got hurt really badly and can't remember anything. And it's just super sad and has, like, a lot of drama about, like... And then they thought that her dad died.
Mm-hmm. But in reality, he had just lost his memory, so he didn't know he had a daughter. to go back to.
And then when all the dads came back, she didn't see her dad, and
that made you.
They kept her, and they treated her badly. So they just scared me. Like, I didn't want him to go on deployment again, but of course that was after his second deployment.
Right.
So if one of you guys went on deployment, I would say heck no, tech no.
You just want to limit the amount of information that you give your child, and just keep them away from all those sad movies, social media, all those things that can really just make them aware of what's going on.
Yeah, because it can bring them down. They could have nightmares when they're sleeping. They could not sleep well. They could start like crying on their own, and just they just get all emotional, and it just doesn't help a lot.
Yeah, that's very true, Mia. Good job. Yeah. Well, that's pretty much it, guys, for today. You okay? You okay?
A little bump of emotions hit me when it reminded me about that movie. It's so sad.
Yeah, that movie is really sad. But so let's not watch The Little Princess.
Never again.
What was it on? Is it on Netflix? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Is it? Yeah, so don't watch it if your husband's deployed.
Don't let your child free. Don't let your child free.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And thank you so much for all the followers, for all the support. We love every single one of you. And thank you so much for your service, both spouses and military soldiers. Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's amazing. Mr. Corgi's waiting.
Good.